On a late September day in Montana, a group of my colleagues and I here at Meat Eater collaborated with a team of archaeologists to butcher a bison using an Ice Age toolkit made of stone. The goal was to create a collection of tools and bones that might help unravel the mystery of how our fellow hunters survived thousands of years ago. Here's what happened.
FedEx was like, "Are you shipping any weapons?" Well,
I'd like to use these Clovis points to cut all the tape that you put on these things.
oh, but we can't, because then we'll get plastic wear.
Well, that's a big one. David Meltzer, archaeologist, and what we're doing today is we're kind of studying the efficacy of stone tools for butchering bison.
Carefully feel the edges of those things, and those are pretty sharp.
They're the sharpest thing in nature.
Really?
Yep.
You know, we're not familiar with skinning stuff with stone points, but seeing these tools, I mean, they're just not going to cut as efficiently as our knives. So I don't know if our
We'll see.
Yeah,
Just give it a try.
We know that 10, 12,000 years ago, these animals were hunted. They were actually a lot bigger back then than they are today. And they were hunted with stone projectile points and then processed. And they were processed perhaps with the stone points, but then also a series of large, very sharp stone flakes.
Knife edge, flake edge. This one may be sharper.
So what's your take on using the stone tools here? Is it going to be harder or easier?
Oh, it's going to be, I mean, it's going to be harder.
Feeling the answer to this.
We can, you know what we can do is real quick, just maybe, we've got extra Sharpies, maybe put a couple more numbers on here.
It's not to say that we're actually replicating or somehow acting precisely as people would have 12,000 years ago. We can't, right? This is the 21st century. But what we can do is get a better understanding of the mechanics of these tools. And we've got a number of individuals here who are really quite skilled and experienced in butchering animals.
Oh my God.
69.1, do you have like a job like climbing trees or rock?
I used to be a tough guy. Now I go like this.
And what we're going to be doing is taking a whole series of observations and measurements
That's pretty good.
This is
15.8.
Wow.
as they are going through the butchering process, which we hope will both tell us about the nature of the tools and how effective they are, but at the same time, maybe give us some signatures of, you know, the wear that happens when you're butchering an animal, how these tools might break, what kinds of cut marks that they might leave on the bones of the animal. So a whole series of things that we're going to be recording.
The other thing too that's so cool about this experiment is that it will serve as a model that we can compare what we find in the archaeological record against. So, you know, we butcher a bison with, you know, these flakes, we'll look at the microwear patterns. We can then see whether or not tools dug up at bison sites have that same microwear. If they do, well, that's really great that it matches our model. If they don't, then we've got to start thinking about, well, what are these flakes doing here? What were they used for? And so these sort of experiments really help us think about what we're really interested in, which is all the stuff that we are excavating to learn about the past. So this is the Kent State Experimental Archaeology Lab, founded in 2016, and basically what we do here is we recreate ancient technologies and then reverse engineer them to figure out how they work and how they were made. So as we walk through the lab and you see stuff, everything you see is a replica, whether it's pots or atlatl darts with stone tips. These are all stuff myself, Dr. Beber, or our students made.
Yeah, we can make stuff from stone, bone, wood, metals, ceramic, really any material that was used by people in the past. We can essentially reverse engineer it, figure out how it was made, and hopefully figure out how it was used. That's kind of the main goal.
Yeah, because once we understand how all this technology works in the past, right, we can then build models of how technology evolved over time, and that's so important. Only by understanding how this stuff works and how it was made can we actually explain the last 3 million years of human prehistory. You know, we often think of technology always getting better, right, and increasing in its efficiency or how well it works. And just in the same way that biological species go extinct, technologies go extinct all the time. But one sort of less understood aspect of the Clovis point is its use as a knife, right? So we have very good evidence from something called microwear, which is the study of microscopic traces on tools, stone tools, that Clovis points were used as knives. They weren't just weaponry for hunting, they were also used for processing. And I think that gets us to our collaboration with Meat Eater and why we want to better understand the butchery of a bison with replica Clovis stone tools. Like, how well did these things work? What do you think? Are they going to work well?
I think they're going to work well. I'm putting a lot of money on the flakes. I think that people underestimate them.
Yeah, so that's the thing too, right? So we know Clovis folks would use these points as knives. But in the Clovis culture, we also find these really large flakes that were removed during the creation of these points. We're gonna really put these to the test and see what works better, the hafted fluted points or the handheld flakes.
Are you pretty confident about cleaning the buffalo?
Well, I'm not cleaning it. One reason why it's so awesome that we're working with Meat Eater is that you guys know and are experts at processing animals. And so we're gonna give the Clovis points that we made and the large flakes like the best possible sort of chance to do their job. I'm really excited. I can't wait to see sort of Clovis points and Clovis knives being used to their ultimate optimum effect. I don't know if that's ever been done before.
Well, basically, the points are one side, the flakes are the other side.
Well, let me kind of just walk you through what we're gonna do. So this will eventually look like he'll be laying here. This half will be naked, and this half, the hide will be laid here. And then this will be like our workbench area.
We're gonna be working on one side, so we all just need to have the same. We ought to just start with the tools. Let's go.
So go ahead.
I think let's do the points first, because that's gonna be the hard part.
Number 4, baby. She feels sharp. Got a good length there. This is my tool. Can we just start on this?
I'm gonna go from the sternum down to here if you want to do the delicate work there. Does that sound good? Okay, you ready?
Yep.
11:19, 11:20.
How's that first cut?
I'm in there.
I'm still experimenting. Oh, there we go.
There you go. He's cutting some.
It's that belly fur.
Oh yeah. If you put some pressure on them, they really cut.
When you guys need to resharpen, let me know and you can grab another one and I'll resharpen one. So you're doing yours?
Do you want to come in from your angle? I should say. Yeah, can I get a trade number 8 in? And Steve, I think, is ready to trade in as well.
We'll give Ryan number 5.
The nipple here.
Steve at 2 and
Right now, this goes into his.
I would take a. Can I just pick up a new knife?
Yeah. Just give me that one. I'll resharpen it. 7?
John, should I try a big one?
I'll just hold on.
I'm gonna try a big one. Number 7.
So that's how you sharpen them, huh?
Yep, just with pressure flaking. It's a pain in the butt to resharpen these when the handle's on there, but
Man, there's certain things these blades don't like, and certain things you're kind of surprised how well they work.
Yeah.
Ooh, baby.
I mean, that's pretty darn.
How's that feel?
That's clean for
That is beautiful.
for just about
Absolutely
anybody. So.
May I ask why you're measuring or weighing?
Ready?
Yep.
2, 3.
We're actually trying to calculate meat per minute as a value. for how efficient the tools are. It's 22.
Exactly.
So essentially we'll be able to quantify the rate of basically meat off a bone. Yeah, it's just a measure of efficiency.
Now, how are we gonna
What's
get the
everybody's
ribs
thoughts
off?
on the ribs? Yeah.
Do we just need to rib out?
Well, they said they're packing away ribs.
I think we should cut that. I think we should do the joint and pop.
Oh, really?
Because that's the interesting deal is without a bone saw or a hand axe, you'd want to almost take the brisket, roll that brisket up to the rib joints and leave it hanging like a little flap. Because you can't, unless they used a rock. Yeah,
Yes.
it'd be great. I'd be curious to see. Yeah, but let's do the basket.
Ask and you shall receive.
Yeah, they're huge wind poles. Huge.
Any takeaways on the tools you have been using?
These tools, I would say, they work twice as good as I thought they would. They get dull, but we've got a guy that's resharpening them, and it's just like getting a resharpened knife. When you get it back, man, it just cuts really good. So yeah, these are like twice as good as I thought they'd be.
Right. No, in all, I thought this was gonna be misery. But now I'm like, oh, you could just do it. Yeah, it's just not that bad.
Absolutely. I don't really want to use the big blades anymore. Like these smaller ones
Yeah.
seem to be way better.
The
for
smaller ones are definitely better than the bigger ones.
it. Yeah, I'm interested in seeing how the flakes work now. This one's a winner. I'm gonna go number 9.
I can make more for you
I
guys.
think this is a good way to get your hand cut open.
So when you make fluted points and you're flint knapping a large rock, these are the first big flakes that come off. These are essentially the primary knapping flakes.
But I mean, there's
Hold right there.
no doubt that this is gonna work. I mean, this thing's
It's sharp as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. The question is, how long will it last?
Yeah.
All right.
You ready?
Good.
Chunk here. It definitely requires a lot less pressure. I have this little tooth on this one, and then you let that lead the way, and it just. Yeah, I mean, this is lovely. Yeah, this is great.
We're just seeing how dull this got. Yeah, it's still pretty good, but I think we'll just give it a quick resharpen here. There's costs and benefits to different shapes to your blade.
Yeah.
And serration actually not only increases pressure points, but you increase the length of your edge. And so when you have a longer edge, you actually cut more per stroke. And so we see ancient folks doing all sorts of techniques with serrated edge or smooth edge. They'll do scalloped edges sometimes in their stone tools. So yeah, just depends on what they're going for.
I mean, the way it's feeling right now, I could go the distance.
Let's see old number 9 in action. Oh yeah, there you go. Look at him, number 9.
So Cal, if you had that same specimen but attached to a handle,
I would like it better.
you'd be a happier guy.
Yep.
Okay.
Is it Cal or is it number 9?
Could go either way.
I don't know, man. You know, the other places where it's hard is like what he's doing, even though he's doing a great job, just getting in where you want to, you know, getting in where you want to get in. But I mean, that's clean work.
So they were getting a whole ball on.
That came off.
I did not anticipate, I've never thought that it would be this much resharpening at a bison keel. So this is just like, I'm reframing in my head a lot of these archaeological sites. So we're already learning stuff. We haven't even gotten back to the lab yet, and this is why you gotta get outside. Lab stuff is really important, but you know, doing more naturalistic stuff is also really, really important. So yeah, we're learning so much.
Clean-ish.
That's pretty darn good, man.
Yeah. We're done with this, right?
We like to be as complete as possible, whatever we're
conducting an experiment like this to kind of weigh and measure everything we can. We never know exactly what's going to be important, even if we don't think about it at the time. That way, we can always go back and go, oh, great, we have that number, or we don't have to go, oh, shoot, we messed up. So now we have the meat weight and the bone weight, and then I can measure the bone after it's cleaned and dried to know how much marrow and leftover meat was left on the bone.
Point to me what side you're holding.
Not ready to come into serious.
This is the side I was holding, which is perfectly smooth. This is the side that was doing the work. And it's serrated the whole way.
Yeah, cut joints, hide. It's a great multi-tool because you just keep flipping it around and find the thing.
Because the thickness is going to vary, and the leverage you're going to get is going to vary depending on the animal and whatnot. And having it backed like that means you're not going to slice yourself. At the same time, you can actually exert a lot of pressure with it.
It's if I had some sort of a major malfunction in my gear, modern hunting right now, and there was something like a chunk of chert laying around, I would be very confident in just opening the animal up, field dressing, getting it cooled down to where I could then go get some more modern tools.
You want to take some of these home with you?
Oh yeah, for sure.
After the science. My impression of how the flakes were gonna work was way off. I thought even though they were sharp that they were gonna break, and that didn't happen at all, really, so.
Oh, it's killing it. It's awesome.
Anticipated the edge to wear down much more quickly than it did. We know that they're super sharp. We know they're sharper than the bifaces to begin with, but I always think of the edge as very fragile, and I thought they would be going through them, every few minutes. So the fact that
Was it Ryan's number 9?
Yeah, and Spencer, he used number
Spencer,
2
yeah.
to do the whole front quarter.
We didn't resharpen those flakes at all, so. We do very controlled laboratory tests, and to do a different sort of test that's more naturalistic and more probably closer to what people in the past would have experienced. Just we can learn all sorts of new information, and we did already. I mean, we haven't even looked at the artifacts yet back in the lab.
It was actually quite impressive to see how quickly they were able to get through that bison with those stone tools.
5.63.
I told my wife I'd be home at like 9:30 tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna be like 4:30. It went way faster than I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it really did. Once we started making those initial cuts, it was like, oh, okay, this is very doable.
Yeah, there was a lot of points where I said that the most difficult part is that this is a bison. Not that I have a rock in my hand. But it's just
great.
the size of the thing that you're working with. It's just huge.
And it's interesting too, we are, for the study, we're modern humans using ancient tools. We're not trying to replicate what ancient people did.
Yeah.
And I was laughing because I feel like the difference between the stone tools and modern tools, everything was so comparable down to the amount of frustration and bitching, right?
That's right.
Okay, watch up. How often does a project like this, that the biggest takeaway winds up being, next time we do that, we need to make sure to...
I think the benchmark for us is we want to learn stuff. And so many folks do stuff and they want to prove something.
Right.
And that's the wrong attitude.
Right.
We want to go into a study not to prove something, but to learn something. And I think when you've got that attitude, it's...
You want to worry away your ignorance.
Well, it's been fun because I've always admired your work. You've been on our podcast a couple times over the years. So the fact that led to
this,
coming out to collaborate a little bit on something.
It's
great,
fun.
man.
No, this is research.
I'll talk about this day for the rest of my life. In a very annoying way, probably.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. And well, you should.
Because anytime someone speculates on stone tool use, I'll
set
the record straight.
As a matter of fact,
It actually wasn't that bad.
Let me tell you
It
about
actually
my
wasn't that
experience
bad.
with
It's
handheld
better
flakes.
than knives.